Hey guys, 7th here. I did 2 shitty games in a row, so it's time to look at a good game. This is Galaga DX. And I have to say, this is one of my favorite downloadable games that I've picked up this gen. I do have a couple of little issues with it, but for the most part, I couldn't be happier. As you can see, it's a lot different from the original Galaga, and I know there's been a lot of Galaga retreads over the years. You know, you had Galaga 90 on the TurboGrafx 16, and there's been several others after that. This is the only one that I've played that I really have dug, and I would have been all over this shit if it had been in the arcade back in the day when I was a kid. And there's just something about it that's kind of addictive, and the look and everything of it, even though, you know, I've already talked about this game quite a bit, the look and feel of the music and the way the graphics are done, it kind of reminds me of the Shatter on PSN. But of course, it's got Galaga-inspired gameplay. Now, as you can see, it doesn't really play a hell of a whole lot like the original Galaga at all, because, you know, the original Galaga, all you could do was move back and forth across the bottom of the screen. You couldn't really control where your bullets went as far as the direction. They just went straight up, so it was all about positioning yourself. Whereas here, you have full 360-degree rotation. You can go anywhere on the screen, and you also have different modes of your weapons. You've got this straight-on one, which is what I use for the most part, and you've got like a spreader that sends it in 3 different directions. And so that does give you some options depending on the scenarios that come at you. There's a ton of different gameplay modes for this thing. There's time attacks, arcade, tournament mode, which is what I'm playing here. And all of your scores get uploaded and tabulated so you can see how you compare to others. There's different difficulty settings. I'm playing on the standard one right now. I did play through tournament mode on hard, and it is quite a bit more challenging, but not to any great degree. The graphics, fantastic. It looks fucking phenomenal. And I know this started out, I believe, as a DS title. I can't imagine the DS title looked as good as this, but it's, you know, nonetheless, it's got a great look to it. It does have some music cues that harken back to the original game, and as you can see, that still maintains the mechanic of being able to pick up additional ships, although it's a lot simpler in this game. Basically, when you're playing the arcade mode anyway, you'll come, after playing so many levels, you'll come to a level where it's just a big swarm of shit flying in your face, and if you can get to the middle of it and shoot the piece in the middle, you get a whole bunch of these extra ships that follow you around. So it's not like in the original game where you had to have one of your ships kidnapped so that you could then, you know, shoot it and get it back down. It doesn't work that way. It's a lot easier to do, and it's a lot easier to get your ships back. One big thing over this game is it's all about timing. A lot of these levels, as you can see, I can blow through them in a matter of seconds, because if there are these chain reactions where if you set off a bomb or you shoot off, you blow up the main ship that's on the screen, it blows up everything else. So a lot of, as far as maximizing your score, is figuring out what the pattern of each screen is and maximizing the amount of time it takes you to get through the level. So stuff like this, you see those little glowing yellow things, you shoot those, blows everything else up. So the point becomes shoot those as fast as possible. And then with something like this, you shoot the little yellow ones to set off a trigger chain reaction that blows everything else up. So it's all about just keeping your eyes open and watching for where the triggers are to set off these chain reactions to get through the levels faster and get a higher score. One thing that I will touch on here is they've incorporated a gameplay aspect that they actually used in Pac-Man DX, and that's this slow down mechanic, where if you get really close to dying, it zooms in and everything slows down, and it gives you a chance to escape. I think this makes it just a little bit too easy, and that's the one thing about this game I don't like, is that slowdown mechanic, because you'll see me pulling my ass out of the fire during this video because I haven't played it in 8 months and I'm extremely rusty. And I get away just fine, whereas in just about any other shooter you could mention, I would have been dead and already out of lives by now with the amount of things that I've brushed up against. So it definitely takes away some of the difficulty and really makes it to where the whole game is focused on the score. So instead of having to focus on keeping yourself alive, you're more focused on, well, how do I beat this level when the guy has bulletproof armor and all of my bullets are bouncing off of him? How am I going to do this before the timer runs out and maximize my score? Oh, I see. I just have to wait until a bomb gets close enough to him and shoot it, and then it blows his armor off, and then I can attack him. Yeah, it's all about that kind of thing. You never really feel like you're in any kind of real danger here, but yet, because of the overall aesthetics of the game, it still gets your adrenaline pumping. I don't really have an explanation for that other than the fact that just it's the flow of the game. It's one of those games that you would have on your Nintendo or whatnot back in the day, where you've beat it a billion times, you've gotten the high scores and all this, and it's the game you pop in when you don't know what else you want to play. You just want to play something and zone out. This is that game. You can put you can play this almost on automatic. It's the flow of it is that simple. Now, of course, you're not going to be able to do that when you play it on the higher difficulty. That one actually takes some challenge, not to a massive degree. It's not going to impress Icaraga veterans, to say the least. But that is there if this isn't enough for you. But again, it's all about memorizing the patterns and finding the fastest way possible to beat each scenario, more than it is about surviving. Because another thing is that, and again, not so much on the harder difficulty, but you earn extra ships like nobody's business in this game. I have never had to use a continue in this game since I bought it, and that's including on the harder difficulty. I've never had to continue. I'm able to make it all the way through every scenario without dying. Or, well, not without dying, but without having to continue, because the difficulty, just compared to the original Galaga, is not where I wanted it to be. And the reason I keep harping on about it is, of course, that's the only thing I don't like about the game. I absolutely adore everything except for the fact that it's all become about your end time and your score, and less about skill. Now, you watch this, and I'm blowing through the levels pretty fast, and to someone who hasn't played this game before, that might seem kind of impressive. But if you've played the game, you'll know that there's not really that much skill involved in it on this level. So, I'm not really showing this for bragging rights, because anyone that's played this game along with me knows that I'm not doing anything super impressive here, especially since I hadn't played it in 8 months when I made this video. But for you veterans out there who are not new to this genre, I still recommend it as a buy, but the minute you turn it on, set it to the hardest difficulty level. Don't play it on normal, because if you play it on normal, you're going to get kind of disenchanted with it, because you're going to think it's too easy. And that's advice that I would give for someone who's been playing this shit for years like me. For people that are new to this genre, because they're fairly new to gaming in general, start out on normal and see how you like it. If you're able to get through it, then move your way up. But there's enough, for the price that you pay for this game, there's enough material here to keep you busy for a good long while. The only thing that I have a problem with is the difficulty, and again, it's alleviated somewhat by playing it on hard mode, but I still think it could have been more challenging than it is. And because of that, I'm going to give Galaga DX 6 stars out of 7.